On the same day, my letter was sent to another paper. It was published on Friday, the 19th, captioned, "Freedom of speech includes freedom to criticize public officials." I have never had a letter not published by the BMD and still hope it is published tomorrow. Back to the Joint Review Board. I recall the meeting in previous council chamber with the consultant sitting on the dais along with Paul Mann, who hesitated to allow me to speak. Since then, I believe 2 meetings were held in the training room that is not handicap accessible. Further, it seems it would be wrong to allow even having the JRB meeting. I hope to attend and speak at the 10 a.m. Wednesday meeting, but I have a left knee and ankle that is not working good and having difficulty with my sight. Also, because of time limitations, I am requesting the training room meeting be canceled and then posted later and with ingenuity using the previous council chambers. Allowing more problems with the JRB meeting to continue as scheduled while ignoring the handicap issue after this council has now been informed would confirm that none of the 5 of you really care about the handicap rules. Many of us are currently ashamed of what's been happening in City Hall, and more problems could be harnessed by simply moving the meeting to the former council chambers. I don't like piling on, but the Open Meetings Act demands that the JRB meet at times that are convenient to the public. We just witnessed a meeting with a large number of taxpayers concerned about raising taxes, and TIF is a form of taxes. A bad weather on Wednesday AM forecast is another reason to cancel. How you conduct the people's business overshadows what you do. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else from the north, or from the south side?
Karen McReynolds. First thing I would like to talk about is respect. Mayor, you rightfully demand decorum in this meeting room, but I've been shocked at the unprofessionalism on the dais lately. Therefore, I'm encouraging that there be respectful behavior of the council members, especially toward each other. Thank you. Mr. Scott Williams, I'd like to say a few words about him. Mr. Williams did not get to where he is in life today through poor performance, nor for being a liar or a thief. So in your attempt to smear his good name, you are only making yourself look worse. This is a quote from a council member. It is my sincere hope that the elected officials will work together to advance the best interest of our city rather than the narrow interest of a small clique of disaffected malcontents. End quote. Wow. Please note that the clique is quite large, and I am certain there are more malcontents than there are satisfied citizens. Low or no information citizens aside. Next thing I want to talk about are mistakes. When someone consistently makes mistakes that reap serious repercussions and over a span of years, there's an indication of serious underlying problems. When superiors, fellow co-workers, friends, and family members, and even lawyers repeatedly enable this behavior, the problems are left unaddressed. The enablers, while bailing out the person by covering up or downplaying the misdeeds and crimes and are paying for their mistakes, only serve to empower the person to continue on the path of self-destruction. Enablers do not help, only delay the inevitable. The person loses credibility and trust and can no longer be positively effective. The issues then become a distraction to the business at hand. A public official in this situation must resign, Professional help must be sought to determine the root of the problem and steps for resolution. Sometimes tragic events trigger behavior like this, especially if it was never professionally addressed. So enablers, please seek help yourself so that you can learn how to help the person needing it most. Please resign and seek help. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else from the South?
Hello, Council. My name's Donna Ayers. I want to address this to Cheryl. I don't know you, but everything that I've read, shame on you. That's all I can say. And then to put somebody else on a spot, Tammy, it's Cheryl. I've been talking to Mike, and he might contact you. I've asked him not to let Scott know. I contacted him, and he said he won't. You've basically involved somebody else in your scheme. And I really don't know how you can sit there and show face. And another thing I want to address is the council, when somebody's speaking, half of you are looking down. And I think that you need to, eye to eye, look at a person when they're talking. It counts, and it lets them know that you are recognizing them. And that's all I got to say. And you need to behave, Cheryl.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else?
My name's Rob Dorman. There's the front page of the Sunday Belleville News Democrat, and she just talked about people looking at it. There it is right there. It's an embarrassment for the residents of the city of Collinsville. I want to parrot off of Bob Despain, though, because I have to take a vacation day to go to the Joint Review Board. That's terrible. That should be done at 7 o'clock at night. Why would it be done at 10 o'clock unless you don't want people to be able to go? I'm serious. I have to take a vacation day. I don't want to have to do that, but if I do, it's really going to be a shame that I have to take a vacation day to go do something to keep my local municipal government in check. That being said, in case anyone wonders why I've been coming to these meetings regularly, asking for the admittedly corrupt mayor to step down, it's because I believe that the citizens of Collinsville deserve better. Better than a lifelong employee who had his shot at paying back the residents for their generosity by being mayor and blew it. Generosity, which provided him with enough wages to purchase a home here and decent enough benefits to retire in relatively good health. With enough respect, he was elected to the city council and then mayor, but he blew it. You blew it, John Miller, on July 13th, when you're about to cry here in this very room, saying you did nothing wrong. Instead of leaving with class, you stayed. And now look, you're in the paper again, saying you did nothing wrong. Your running mate is on the front page of the paper. And not only did you know about her abusing the city credit, you had to have instructed the attorney not to release the FOIA about it, which cost the taxpayers $15,000 in legal fees. Was it because you're complicit? Because she says you told her to lay low, you had to know. You have lost the public's trust, and you know it's so. Cheryl, you know you obviously have to resign, but in a sense, you won. You were able to get elected and fire your old boss. So it should be easier for you to resign because at least you get that victory. But you have to go. You cannot be trusted to handle public funds. The other members of this council, including you, Jeff Stamen, need to vote to censor her and demand she resign. How can you allow her to vote on matters concerning public finances now the public knows about her? Cheryl, you need to resign, and John, you do too. That's what honest people do when they realize they're no longer serving the public, but instead themselves. I'd like to end with a quote by the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in their bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. That's why I'm asking for both of you for your resignations. Please resign tonight. I'm asking politely.
Mr. Dorman, thank you for your comments.
Strauskas. My sentiments are the same as the speakers before me. First of all, I want to say about this meeting on Thursday, why are you having it at 10 o'clock in the morning? People do work, people do have opinions, they would like to be there. I thought we discussed this the last time we had TIF arrangements being made. And I would like to attend, but I think it's very poor to have it at 10 o'clock in the morning when you know a lot of the citizens of this community, whether they are not, they want to attend or not, but it's not available if they do work during the day. I had to go home and look at a dictionary. Been out of school a long time. Looked up the word integrity. It said uprightness of character. Honesty. We haven't displayed that here. I'd like to thank Ms. Ammon again for bringing this forward to Scott Williams. I'd like to thank the FOIA request and research to get this information public. You have caused us all just one huge embarrassment. You would think we are in East St. Louis, Cahokia, Brooklyn. In those communities, you may get by with it, but I don't think you're going to do it here. This hall right here should be filled with resentment of what has happened here. I just can't see it. And it's not going to change. We have to put it back on the right path, the city. And this publicity we have received is just horrible, just horrible. I mean, examine your conscience to do the right thing, please. I wanted to discuss branding of the community, which was a term used up here. And I'm thinking, this publication by the Belleville News Democrat, is that our branding? Is that what you meant by being branded? We've spent so much money foolish in this community. I always thought that when you drove into a town, you found the brick pillar with the name on it in the community. But we've got Collinsville posted here on Vandalia, here on this end, after we spend $2.5 million for the Collins house. That is not good spending of the taxpayers' money. $2.5 million. Do you think we could do a couple sidewalks with that? Or do a couple blocks of curb and gutter and a permanent surface made in? You, the council, think that you can handle the taxpayers' money better than the community or the school. I know they get 50% of it. Why don't they get it all? You came back with a tax going to 4% versus 1.25%. Couldn't we take the funds that were designated to the city by the increase in taxes, put to use so we can get some of these benefits, just simple sidewalks, a block, a curb and gutter? You haven't done nothing in the last 50 years. It's got to stop somewhere. Mr. Mayor, Ms. Bromley, we got rid of Scott Williams. Job well done. Street director, gone. Mayor Pro Tem, which should have been Miss Moss, because of her seniority. You took to change that so she would not be put that responsibility to a new member of the council. Then last meeting night, I think you gave her a smirk, or she looked at you funny and you questioned her on the floor in front of the people. I think this was wrong. There is one word for that, sir: a bully.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I was going to talk about community, and I've changed my mind. And
Please
I'm
state your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Linda Rejo. I live at 205 Westview. Thank you. Just hearing the previous speakers, I want to adjust the issue on the editorial that was published in the Belleville News Democrat. It was not a news story based by any facts. It was actually an editorial that was printed out. And what the Belleville News Democrat does print, that no matter how thin you slice something, there's always two sides to everything. And just because the BND prints an editorial does not make it fact. So I'd just like to address that. The political vendetta against our elected officials has really gotten out of hand, and it is a political vendetta, and everybody really needs to look into what that is. I personally heard and witnessed a member that's city manager that's no longer with us make a statement that he couldn't believe how what idiots the city of Collinsville was to pay him $111,000 so he could sit in his office with his feet up reading a book. So again, let's just get past the past. The real issue is, as a community, there's universal needs and expectations about being a community for the council. Dependence and interdependence is the power that fuels the success of any city and makes it a great community. It's in the shelter of each other that we succeed, not just as individuals, but as a community. And I've lived many places over the course of 26 years with my husband and I serving in the military. Collinsville is one of the better places we've lived. I just want to remind everyone, and on this council especially, that last April, a majority of this community, its citizens, voted and therefore chose the path they wish to see our city move towards. They elected the people that you see on this council and not the people that aren't on this council. So if we're not moving forward as a city, growing and changing, any entity quickly becomes irrelevant. And to bring our community back together with steady economic growth and improvement, it's necessary to change and stretch ourselves. So please keep those decisions in mind and consider the path that our city's on as you make those choices and make them wisely. And I truly believe that there are a couple of people on this council that were manipulated by a small group of people for political gain and are constantly focusing on minor negative things that are not necessary for the growth of this community. And that the people that have been let go were let go with cause. And this community is going to be a better place for it in the end, all the way. And I truly am grateful for the path the city's on and the decisions that are being made. Because I think had we not had that, we would be in much worse shape as a community. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
My name is Janet Schultz. When I first heard the rumors that were going around, I was very concerned. When Ms. Brombelich gave the excuse that everyone was doing it, I was deeply troubled. Now that all the evidence, not just gossip, evidence is coming out, I am outraged. How dare you use the city credit cards for personal expenses and then have the audacity to raise our taxes? What else has been going on in this city that has been overlooked, hidden, or fallen between the cracks? Ms. Brombelich is a highly intelligent individual, very smart and very knowledgeable. I find it impossible that a woman of her intelligence would make these same mistakes over and over again. I think her first explanation was an honest one. Everyone is doing it. Why would Mr. Bonensteel ever give her his city credit card to use? He should have been more responsible than that. I noticed it wasn't his personal credit card that he gave her. I think Scott Williams was trying to clean up the playhouse in this city and the problems that he saw in City Hall. But instead of being praised for doing the job that you hired him to do, his contract was not renewed, with the excuse being the employees don't like him. Well, the citizens liked him. That was shown at the meeting when you were voting on his contract. A few people state that this is sour grapes because some people didn't win the election. Well, Mayor, I supported you. I voted for you. I thought you were a good man. The mayor I thought I was voting for would have demanded a forensic audit to find out just what was happening in City Hall. He would not have waited. He would not have wanted a hint of corruption attached to his administration. It's time to clean house, get rid of the credit cards, have the audit done, take the necessary action to deal with anyone else that has abused this system, clear the air, let the citizens of Collinsville have faith in our city once again. This is our city. You work for us, and I don't like the job I'm seeing you doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Next item.
Comments and announcements from the mayor.
I would like to thank Ariana Nichols for coming in with us this evening. What a bright young lady with a great outlook on life, and the things that she's doing for our community and for her friends and the firefighters and the police officers is overwhelming. So thank you again to Miss Ariana Nichols. And that's all I have.
Comments and announcements from council members.
Council?
Yeah, I got something. You know, in light of the recent B&D news article, the past history of Cheryl, and for the future of the city of Collinsville, I feel that it is in the best interest that for our city, I hereby request the resignation of Cheryl from the position of city councilman for the city of Collinsville, effective immediately.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Moore?
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, would ask Councilman Bromwich to step down. How can the citizens of Collinsville have confidence in the decisions we make and she makes? As councilmen, we are expected to be trustworthy and make decisions in the best interests of our residents. In light of the recent disclosures regarding Councilman Bromwich's actions as a city employee, I believe that she simply cannot be effective as an elected public servant. The time and expense, more than $15,000 of taxpayer money spent fighting the release of the documents requested by the Belleville News-Democrat under the Freedom of Information Act, which the majority of the council, which includes Mrs. Bromwich, tried so hard to suppress, is only one example of how her position as a councilman is not in the best interest of the city. Ironically, there is a proposed workshop for the next meeting date that involves an outside facilitator coming to train the city council on city manager relations. The topics include positive attitude and trust building training. How on earth do we do that in this situation? It's impossible for me to imagine. I urge Councilman Bromwich to submit her resignation from this body immediately for the good of the constituents she has sworn to represent. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Next item.
Comments and announcements from city staff.
Mr. Bear?
Nothing at this time.
Thank you.